So, so recently, if you guys haven't heard, the Supreme Court has made a decision that essentially gives the President of the United States immunity for any crimes that they commit, as long as are considered technically an official act as the United States President. And this obviously makes way for a lot of bad things because, of course, the president could always break things that we can always immediately describe like as breaking the law. Like if you had a real court case against any president on being like, oh, did you kill somebody? Well, yes, Obama did. Well, yes, Trump did. Okay, yes, like Biden did. Yeah, they all ordered and directly caused the deaths of people. Like you can always cause that, and there's always never like punishment for that. But even in domestic American laws and for things pertaining to domestic American citizens, and even things pertaining to the larger and broader like political America as itself, like the fact that there's just no punishment for that via way of being the president is so insane to me. But I guess Mr. Ben Shapiro here has a different opinion, and we're going to listen to that and see where our opinions differ and debate in the marketplace of ideas like he loves to. Anyway,
right now is they're trying to claim that if Donald Trump, thanks to the Supreme Court decision, right? Here's the thing. They have to pretend that there was an inflection point yesterday. They have to. If there was no inflection point, Joe Biden's going to lose the election. So what they have to do is they have to say the threat now really revved into high gear. The reason they have to do that, of course, is because Joe Biden died physically during a debate. So because Joe Biden died physically during a debate, you can't claim that Donald Trump is such a threat to the Republic that Joe Biden.
yeah, dude, this just like fucking manufactured like fucking hysteria over what's going on. Like the Supreme Court didn't just rush like three fucking decisions all at the same time. Like when have we seen the Supreme Court in general make this many just back-to-back decisions all pertaining to or actions all pertaining to like Trump and his presidency? They even recently leaked like an abortion case in Idaho because they're probably just so fucking busy doing more shit in like 2 weeks than the Supreme Court has ever fucking done in their lifetime, because that's how they work. When they need to be fast, they're fast as fuck. When they want to be slow, they'll take years. But it's ridiculous to say that this is fucking like manufactured like hysteria and that there's nothing like to be concerned about here. Like literally when, how, where in the Constitution does it say that the president is a fucking king among peers or people or whatever the fuck it's called? Like I don't remember the exact quote, and we're gonna maybe get into it later because I want to watch Democracy now. But at least with this fucking guy, he's not gonna get into the specifics because they're so bad. They're so bad.
Biden has to be elected because the polls are out post-debate and they are very, very bad for Joe Biden. According to the current polling data, Donald Trump is now up 4 in Pennsylvania. He is now up in New Hampshire, a state the Republican has not won in 20 years. He is now up 4 in Michigan. Nationally, according to Harvard Harris, he is now up 6 points. Okay, so that means that Joe Biden is losing. So there has to be a new inflection point.
Okay, we get it. We get it. I understand that like now we're using the polls because we're the person who doesn't have like the sitting president, so that's kind of the only thing we have to work on. But like, are we gonna forget that like literally the entire last election, the election before that, we were just not trusting polls at all? Like we weren't trusting polls at all. I'm not saying Biden's not unpopular because he absolutely fucking is, but I'm not gonna say like whenever it really comes down to it between the choice of two people, I do actually think it's a lot more up in the air than people think it is. Maybe I'm fucking like hysterical right now. Maybe I'm just like a part of that, just trying to cope, like injecting the copium into my veins right now. But I genuinely think that like, especially with how wrong the polls were in 2020, how wrong the polls were in 2016, like recently, especially with just like how many different factors there are and how many different like things that can immediately influence someone's decision in the modern day, it just feels like it's hard to pin it down like this, at least election wise, months before the election. I don't know. We're just gonna let it go though. But I feel like just reading off polling data is like it's kind of like cope. It's kind of like it's literally like fucking Joe Biden cope. Wait, that's Joe Biden level cope right there. That's actually like your fucking president, who is probably soon gonna be your emperor, just like signs in a law that gives you complete like authority to do essentially whatever he wants. And the only thing you can do is just read off like, oh well, Sir Biden is loved by the farmers and by 4%. Like okay, like okay. Like that's exactly the shit that Joe Biden was saying. He was literally just like ignoring like everybody in his own constituency, talking about him dropping out, or talking about him not being a strong candidate, or talking about him actually being ironically unelectable, even though he was nominated for the position, especially for his electability because he could work on both sides. I don't know. He literally just kept being like, "Nah, Jack, nah, Jack. We won Michigan last time. It's chill. Nah, Jack." All right.
Right? The debate was an inflection point. So now Democrats are trying to manufacture out of whole cloth a new inflection point to try and seize the momentum in the race back. The only way to do that is to claim that Trump has been handed brand new, magical, earth-shattering powers.
Dude, this fucking this dumb bitch always keeps like assuming that the Democrats have this like super deep like plan. But do you think if they had like an actual plan and were actually genuinely trying to win here, and wanted like a bunch of fucking, well, one, like because they have the time frame only now, and if they wanted a bunch of fucking like rallying people on their cause right now, and that stigma that manufactured anger and resentment toward Trump and their campaign, along with the bolstering loyalty to the Democratic Party, I think they'd probably just drop Biden and replace him with someone who's a lot more able to speak, right? Like there's no way if they're trying, and if they actually want people to genuinely in the future vote for them and their presidents continually, I feel like just even siding with Biden in this point is bad, and then kind of just betraying your old party is also kind of shows weakness. So it puts a really bad, yeah, this is kind of an easy layup for somebody like Ben Shapiro, because it's a really bad situation for anybody in the Democratic Party, or even someone who's a Democratic voter, to be in.
He's now a genie, and if you rub the magic lamp, he will come out, and you'll have the magical powers of Jafar. Ooh, phenomenal cosmic power. Like, this is what they now have to claim the Supreme Court just did. They rubbed the magic lamp of the presidency, and out came big bad Trump, Orange Hitler. The problem is, the decision doesn't say that.
Orange Hitler, you said it,
they
not
somehow
me.
have to convince you that there is now a real danger that Orange Hitler will come forth from the magical electoral lamp. That is the thing that they have to say. So, Joe Biden decided to seize on this last night and give one of the most demagogic, pathetic speeches I've ever seen from a president. There are a couple reasons here that he's doing this. One,
I want to actually... Wait, I might cut in... I might either make this a separate video and make the video up there, or I might cut in my reaction to the speech in itself, by itself, because I don't want Ben Shapiro to just be talking in my ear the whole time, telling me that everything Biden is saying is bad. I want to actually like parse through what's bad, what's good, what maybe actually he needs to work on, why he needs to drop out, because he definitely needs to drop out. I think that's my like official opinion on the situation. He needs to fucking drop out. He's only gonna just keep listening to his family though, and they're never gonna say that. So, but anyway, we're gonna watch this first just because we're already through the video.
One is the political, and the other is the imagistic. The last image anyone has in their mind of Joe Biden is him like this. Staring, slack-jawed, glassy-eyed into the abyss.
I hope that's the last image that a lot of people get of Ben Shapiro in their minds. I'll make sure that that's at the ending screen, too. I just want people to... yeah. I want people to fully realize and appreciate that face he made for a solid 3 seconds.
From that debate last Thursday night. That is the last image anyone has. So the Democrats were trying to find some excuse for putting Biden back on the public stage to speak in a way that people would hear him.
That's not an excuse. Okay. Again. He has to immediately like break down the position, break down like the context. He has to give the context of the situation, then break down every single like give his own opinions and like orchestrate and manipulate the situation to make it like way more skewed to his side. But it's like pretty ridiculous for him to keep just saying like this is an excuse. Like, bro, he said he's a king. The Supreme Court just said that the fucking president of the United States is a king. That's not crazy. Like you, of course you'd talk about that. But literally, King Biden would, of course, talk about that. Like, why else wouldn't they? Like, he's literally like what? Like you're telling me if you were president of the United fucking States and then somebody literally wrote in a law who is honestly against you in like politically that you are a king among people, at least the person or at least your president or position is like that, like what? And then you can commit crimes as long as they're official acts? Like what? That's crazy. That's crazy. In reality though, unfortunately, I think if Joe Biden ever actually genuinely tried to exploit that, like to do anything like murder Trump or something, he'd never do that. But let's just say, it would immediately be counted as technically an unofficial act, only just because the law itself was ran through the Supreme Court. So it would eventually also, if it was contested, if his crimes were contested, go to the Supreme Court. And of course, Republicans would immediately go and bring that shit to the Supreme Court to be like, no, he's doing it. No, 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 no. Shut that shit down. We want Trump. No. And he's not gonna. And Biden's not gonna take a hard enough stance against the Republican Party to do that because he doesn't even have a strong basis within the Democratic Party anymore. It seems like. So
they decided that because they have to play up this new inflection point, this false inflection point, they're going to trot out Joe Biden. Now, they apparently also decided to go with Donald Trump's makeup artist. So they spray painted this dude orange, and then they put him out there to read from a teleprompter for 4 minutes. And let me just explain to Democrats. You are not going to answer questions about the president's obvious dementia by putting him out there to read from a teleprompter somewhat credibly for 4 minutes and 4 seconds, and then having him totter out the back while his aides close these giant wooden doors behind him without taking any questions. If the question about Joe Biden is, does he have the stamina and mental capacity to be president of the United States, a 4-minute demagogic speech in which he barely appears to be being held up by strings like a marionette. Jill Biden apparently is above him with the actual marionette strings. Sorry, Dr. Jill Biden. She's a doctor. Lady Macbeth, Jill Biden.
It. She's a fucking doctor. Okay, she's achieved more than you ever will in your life. But I genuinely do think, like, I know he's kind of poisoning the waters here, but I do genuinely think that that's like really weak. Like, yeah, if it's actually only 4 minutes, like that's weak as fuck. That looks horrible. What the fuck, dude? Like, oh my god. And then they like, I think I actually remember seeing like a clip of it where there are just aides in the back just closing the doors behind him, like as he get like wheeled out damn near. Like that's so bad, dude. Fucking FDR, who was in a wheelchair, showed more strength despite his like fucking disabilities whenever it eventually came out than like Biden has at all. It's crazy. Like I don't know. Like he's not like that far gone. All right, he can fucking talk for a long period of time. Maybe he genuinely can at this point. But I was thinking like I don't know, man. It just always feels like they just make the wrong decisions every time.
That's not going to answer any questions. But Joe Biden comes out. And again, dual goals. One is to show that he's still alive. And two is to say, this is such a threat to democracy. You must elect the corpse. You must elect the character from Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade after he drank from the wrong chalice. You have to elect.
I don't remember that. Give me the clip of that, chat. Oh, wait, there's no chat.
That guy, president of the United States, the Crypt Keeper. He must be president. If you don't make the Crypt Keeper president, then Donald Hitler Trump is going to be president of the United States. And you know the Supreme Court? They just gave him Hitlerian power. Okay, this is the shtick that Joe Biden was trying last night. And it's pathetic and it's gross and it's stupid. We're going to break it down piece by piece here. Okay, so
there's no way Biden said that. All right, this is so much. This is all leading up to the actual just fucking talking about what the video is even about. Like, this is all prep, but like, dude, there's no way Joe Biden even slightly compared him. Maybe he did compare him to Hitler, but like, I don't know. I don't even know. Dude, Joe Biden never goes that hard. If he went that hard, I'd love that shit, dude. He never even goes that hard. He's gonna say he's Hitler, but then like for like 1 second under his breath while he's like stuttering or some shit.
Here was Joe. He toddles out.
It's like
he
it's like me standing up to Donald Trump like by saying, "Oh, you're wrong," quietly to myself while walking into the other room, like, like, yeah, dude, you got him, bro.
Again, my bet was he was going to go for 10 minutes. He did not. He went for 4 minutes and 4 seconds, which is what normal, healthy presidents do, by the way. And then he took no questions. By the way, the first question yelled to him as he exited the podium was, "Are you going to drop out of the race?" So it didn't work. So here was Joe Biden trying to demagogue his way to the White House.
The presidency is the most powerful office in the world. It's an office.
He's not. Are my eyes like fucked or something? But he's like a normal color for Joe Biden to be. Like, I don't think he's especially orange in this. Is that me? I don't. Maybe that's just me.
To not only test your judgment, perhaps even.
It's so funny too. We always use, like, the Republicans always used to play the whole like, "Oh, dude, whenever you call Trump orange, some lonely boy in Florida who's also fucking has a horrific like spray tan, it gets hurt. Like, don't body shame, guys." And then the second that Joe Biden like does it, like starts stuttering or looks crazy, it is like, "Holy fuck, dude, this orange nigga is ugly as hell. What the hell?" Like,
More
bro.
importantly,
Like,
it's an office that can test your character. Because you not only face moments when you need the courage to exercise the full power of the presidency, you also face moments where you need the wisdom to respect the limits of the power of the office of the presidency. This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed for all practical purposes.
Okay, that is not true. That is not true. As we've explained, the Supreme Court did not appoint a magical king. It did not. And by the way, if there's anyone who's ever been in love with executive authority,
he never even said that they did, dude. And I knew he wasn't gonna go that hard either. Like, he never said that they appointed a fucking king. He literally said that, well, one king was coming from the fucking Supreme Court's decision. All right, that's their word usage, not his. And he said that the fundamental Constitution of America is exactly against the idea of even having a king in any capacity, title or not. Like, fucking, there's a reason why we're not still controlled by those fucking inbred pieces of shit in the islands, because we obviously don't like monarchies. Kings and queens are the head of monarchies. Like, literally, but again, that's the thing. Like, he's only going against a fucking, like he's literally doing the old, like, anti-revolutionary thing. Like, okay, bro, fucking George Washington's on your side, dude. That's great. But anybody who's currently alive today is a lot more focused on the real, actual things he's going to do with that power. I would be, like, I'm just gonna pretend I'm president here. I would be, like, fear-mongering to an 10 extent. I would have an hour-long speech warning everybody about the ways that he could abuse that power if he gets into presidency, and how I actively will be, I swear I will be the person who will end that like complete fucking like undemocratic law and pack the fuck out of the courts, make it blue again, and then establish Roe v. Wade, do all these other good things, federally make marijuana legal, even though we could have done that already, and then everybody gets head, and it'd be great. But that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
it's this guy who has signed more executive orders than any president in modern history. It's this guy who tried to use OSHA to cram down a vax mandate on 80 million Americans, who's spent the last several years trying to end around the Supreme Court, declaring that even though they have said he is not allowed to magically get rid of student loan debt, he can just do it. This guy, like, this guy's going to lecture us about the excesses of executive power? This one? Seriously? Him?
It's not magically getting rid of student loan debt. If it's a fucking American school and a university, they're absolutely adhere to the fucking people that own the soil that they live on, like the federal government. So if they want to make the fucking student debt loan debt go, especially with all the millions of dollars that fucking the U.S. government puts into schooling in the first place, like, yes, Of course they're going to be able to do that. That doesn't make it just disappear. That's literally just how the government can work. The government can just tell people to do things sometimes. And I'm pretty sure it's not even just that, by the way. I think there's actually like a lot more of like a specific like institutional bureaucracy fucking whatever reason that makes it still fair, because these people, these companies and like universities aren't exactly fucking needing of any of that money versus just what random people, random dudes, random college students. Like that's who you want, that's who you're arguing against right now, that's who your enemy is. And I don't understand how it's gotten like to be such a popular like opinion. Like it's in the Overton window by a long margin. Like literally just constantly being against, like, no, I don't want people to be able to get schooling. Like, no, like I don't want people to have healthcare. I don't want people to be healthy. I want them to die. I don't want them to be smart, and I want them to die. And that's a normal opinion in America. It's amazing.
Democrats keep pretending that they give a damn about democracy. They don't care at all, which is just another reason why, for example, they've allowed crime to explode in all of our major cities, which is a reason that you should check out the Burn a Less Lethal Pistol.
Crime has like historically been fucking like fear mongering. We're not gonna talk about manufactured fucking fear mongering, dude. Crime, mentioning crime in fucking 2024 like it's a serious issue. Like, dude, we got the lead out, man. It's way fucking lower than it was, especially during even COVID, bro. Like, shit's so much better now, dog. Like, I can't even imagine. I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Launcher. It was developed by a team of common sense gun owners who understand the importance of having choices. They engineered the Burner launcher as a powerful tool for self-defense. I'm about as forbid I have to react. I own 4 pistols, an AR, a shotgun at home. It's kind of somebody's in your house.
Ben Shapiro has never shot a real life gun in his life, or maybe actually, you know what? Okay. I forget that these guys like always go to like some shooting range with like some millionaire guy who like gives them a gun for them to like shakenly like do and then put down, just like, oh my god, dude, never put me next to that thing again. But like I'm talking about like I don't know, just like really like being out in the back, chilling, getting a fucking rifle, shooting some cans out in the woods, like some real actual American like fucking pastime shit. All right, not none of that fucking weird ass only on YouTube video shooting range shit with like some weapon that was only manufactured and like produced in Russia. Like that shit is not very like homegrown American farmers style like that you think it is, dog. It's really not. It's really fucking not. Dude, same thing with Marjorie Taylor Greene shooting that fucking like what tank killer at a car. Like what? Who has a tank killer? What ops do you have for you to have a tank killer? Like what is the point, bro? Bro's going to Ukraine. Actually, that's insane. That's crazy.
Exactly know who it is. You don't want to make a mistake, like a deadly mistake. The Burna is a safer, more sensible alternative that could potentially.
Dude,
that he has got this. A.
But, you know, he's like listing all these like all this shit like AR, like an AR-15. Did you say AK-2? Because I was thinking AK. Dude, I thought you said AK. Dude,
here we go again.
AK, that'd be insane too, because that's like, dude, who the fuck? We're really like, why do you need an AK, bro? Like, you would like what? That's crazy. He's actually just trying to like arm the next coup this time. Oh shit.
He has no other choice. This is the hand of cards that he has. He's got this pair of deuces, and he's got to try to play it.
Practical purposes. Today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent. Because the
Dude, what do you mean that's not true? What do you think fucking like immunity means? Like, how is that not true? Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess he can't do literally anything he wants, but like fiscally, like as a president, like pretty openly, yeah, he can't. Actually, he is kind of looking a little orange in this picture. Now that I mentioned that, he is kind of looking a little orange. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Fuck. I actually agree with Ben Shapiro. Maybe he was right this whole time.
The power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law, even including the Supreme Court of the United States. The only limits will be self-imposed by the president alone. This decision today...
Again, the point he's making is you have to elect me because the Supreme Court won't stop President Trump from droning people, but I won't drone people because I'm so good. I'm so nice. There are no mechanisms for hemming in the president of the United States. Thus, You have to elect me. Now, here's the thing. All of this is a lie. All of this, every element of this is a lie. Donald Trump's bizarre machinations between November 6th of 2020 and January 6th of 2021 came to nothing because all of the institutions were arrayed against him. All of the institutions held, all of them. Okay, the institutions didn't just magically disappear. Again, now he's...
So is he like... This is the weird point. Like, is he like anti those institutions, or is he saying that those institutions are good, and that he's saying like anti-Trump because they were holding those, like Trump was getting held back by those institutions? Because does he not understand like Trump is actively going to dismantle those institutions the second that he gets into presidency? Like, what do you think Project 2025 is? Like, your friends are working on Project 2025, bro. So maybe he is actually genuinely just like, no, the institutions held this time. Next time when he gets into the presidency, like, because he's not even really going like, or like trying to justify the law that much, because he's just kind of like assuming like that we just agree with it, that it's like fine. I really expected him to like at least try and like, I mean, I don't know, how can you even justify it, right?
having to make the case that the Supreme Court is... Here's the thing that's amazing. He is making the case that he ought to be granted power, because if he is not granted power, there are no limits on the presidency, and Donald Trump will abuse his power. In order to make this case, he is fundamentally undermining the legitimacy of the Supreme Court of the United States. He's making...
What? And that's a problem? What? You're fundamentally under-legitimizing the president of the United States, okay? And he's retarded. I should... It's right, though. It's literally right, though. Like, what are you talking about, dog? Do you think that's a problem? And, okay, let's just say, okay, yeah, dude. Fundamentally illegitimizing the fucking side of the United States. Like, dude, what do you think Donald Trump was doing his entire time running as president? He was shitting on every single fucking institution in the book. And you still want him to be president? So it's like, obviously, we both agree some institutions are bad, some institutions are good. So it's not ridiculous to be like, oh yeah, when the Supreme Court starts saying presidents can do whatever the fuck they want and are completely immune, and actually even to the point where like literally I oh my god, dude, it literally gets so much like worse than I even can remember or explain. I genuinely do recommend like looking more on the issue, because I'm not good at explaining one to one. But it's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, I'm just gonna play it. But that's ridiculous. Like, he's stuttering over himself. He can't make a real argument or anything in favor of it, because he's obviously going to like be coming off as anti-democracy if he does. And I don't know. He just has to like go for Biden then, like entirely.
Making the case the Supreme Court ought to be destroyed wholesale. So Captain Institutions and Democracy over here is saying the Supreme Court is fundamentally illegitimate because it just appointed a king.
He never said that.
And that his political opposition is anti-democratic, and anyone who supports his political opposition hates the country, is what he actually said in the last debate. And he is such an extraordinary demagogue, all for the pursuit of corrupt political power.
I mean, if you... Okay, let's just be real about this, though. Is that, like, not even... That's not even... dude, this nigga got me fucking defending Joe Biden, bro. But that's not even crazy for him to say. Like, dude, you're literally... If you're actually, like, supporting this guy and the things that he's doing, especially, like, now, current day, like, you are kind of opposed to the point of, like, the country. Like, you're literally, like, a British loyalist at this point. Like, you genuinely... are just like an enemy that doesn't have a gun yet. Like it's actually getting like to the point where it's like fucking we're trying to just undermine the entire democratic structure of the United States of America. Like, that's not insane to say that you don't like the fundamentals of the country if you're trying to preserve and like the king.
Power. The Biden family is repulsive in their pursuit of political power. And this lifelong corrupt politician claiming to be a man of principle, standing in the breach to stop Hitler and Mussolini, is a liar. He is a demented liar. And what he is doing here is dementia-riddled lying. That's what this is.
How much? This got 100,000 views, dude. And my fucking video got like 20. That's crazy. Dude, literally for no reason. What? What? I'm so confused. Do they like the decision or not? Because no, it's not because he's too old. It's because he's president. He is above the law right now because he's president. I thought you didn't like but then now he's like quoting the person saying that this law is bad that gives him immunity. Like, bro, Joe Biden could really just be like, nah, this law is actually really good and president should have this power, and I'm actually going to use that power to then make sure that I win in this next election. Or just not even talk about it and do that anyway. But he's not. He's literally actively being like, dude, what the fuck? I shouldn't have this power. It's like if you give somebody who doesn't know how to use a gun, they're just going to be like, bro, here, take it back. I don't want this thing, dude. Why do you even have this in front of me? Like, Bro's counting the days. That is so pathetic. Okay, sorry. Anyway, I always have to like analyze the comment section just because like usually in these videos it's such like an echo chamber that sometimes it's kind of interesting to listen in, you know, like see what they're thinking about, see what like whatever, because we both watch the same things, we both process the same amount of information, and I want to see like what they take from this situation versus what I take from this situation. Because it's drastically different things most of the time.
Has continued the court's attack in recent years on a wide range of long-established legal principles in our nation, from gutting voting rights and civil rights,
oh my God,
to taking away a woman's right to choose, to today's decision that undermines the rule of law of this nation. Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power. We all saw it with our own eyes. To taking away a woman's right to choose, to today's decision that undermines the rule of law of this nation. Nearly 4 years ago, my predecessor sent a violent mob to the U.S. Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power. We all saw it with our own eyes. We sat there and watched it happen that day. Attack on the police, the ransacking at the Capitol, a mob literally hunting down
this is so tired.
The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. Gallows erected to hang the Vice President, Mike Pence. I think it's fair to say it's one of the darkest days in the history of America. Now the man who sent that mob to the U.S. Capitol is facing potential criminal conviction for what happened that day.
By the way, pause it right here. Let's point out.
Nah, dude, he can't even, like, this is, no, Biden, okay, yeah, that's what I figured. He was gonna fucking, like, poison the waters before he even talked about it. I think he only started playing the actual thing at, like, fucking minute 8 of the whole fucking video. But, like, yeah, no, dude, yeah, no, Biden actually, he looks good there. They drugged him up again. Of course he's gonna be, like, fine after, because it's, like, he's not even within the sundowning period anymore. Like, it's fine, dude. He's cool. He's not going to be able to do another debate though, probably, and he's still going to be a corpse, but I think like what he just said there was like pretty coherent. Like Ben Shapiro is going to have to do a lot of explaining to explain away him sending a fucking, like, I don't know. I feel like he's just not even going to engage with most of it and just go back to attacking Biden.
That what Joe Biden is calling for right here is the jailing of his political opponent, right? This is supposed to be.
Okay, so, I actually didn't expect it. He actually pulled out the third option, which is just blatantly lie about what the person he was talking to said and meant. Because, like, I don't even understand that, like, he didn't even say that. And also, like, okay, well, he probably should be in jail. There's, like, 31 counts of felony charges against him, so, like, is that even... is that even that crazy to say, to be honest? Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess what he was saying, like, oh, it's bad to say you're jailing your political opponents. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. I can understand that, like, fiscally, why you'd have a problem with that. Cool.
I believe in the system of the law. I believe he is the president of the United States. He is calling for the jailing of his political opponent. That's what he is doing right here. Okay, the mask is now off. Remember, he said, no, I have nothing to do with this. The DOJ is just doing it on its own. I'm not the one who directed anybody with regard to the January 6th indictments. Now he's saying if Donald Trump is now criminally prosecuted and put in jail, then the Supreme Court has sinned, and the only way to stop Donald Trump is to elect me. He clearly wants him jailed, does he not? Continue.
And the American people deserve to have an
Yeah, no, he just ignored everything Biden said and then kind of went on to yep and
answer in the courts before the upcoming election. The public has a right to know the answer about what happened on January 6th before they are asked to vote again this year. Now, because of today's decision, that is highly, highly unlikely. It's a terrible disservice to the people of this nation. So now,
yeah, again, another thing openly that happened. Supreme Court delayed the decision about the January 6th court case, and then because of that shit, the DOJ is definitely going to take until like after the election to even finish the whole prosecuting part, and by that point, Donald Trump is definitely going to be completely fine, and he can probably just stop the prosecution of any of the January 6th protesters. That's going to be a horrific event if that happens. Holy shit.
He needs to be
now the
prosecuted
American
before the
people
election,
have
says
to
Joe
do
Biden.
what the courts should have been willing to do, but will not. The American people have to render a judgment about Donald Trump's behavior. The American people must decide whether Donald Trump's assault on our democracy on January 6th makes him unfit
Dude,
for
I
public.
can literally actually see it now, though. I'm not gonna lie. I can actually immediately see, like, okay, Biden loses, Trump gets elected, and then Trump immediately starts, like, fucking pardoning all the January 6th protesters. And then everybody, like, in, like, Twitter comments and shit are just being like, oh, well, I mean, like, oh, well, what about this one edge case of this one granny who was only there outside the building, and then she got so and so years. I'm glad Trump made it only 2 years. He's really a hero. And then it's gonna like overlook like the murderers or the people who went crazy or the fucking like people who went there with fucking handcuffs trying to murder Nancy Pelosi and AOC. Like, yeah, no, I can see it now. I can literally envision it in the future. This is some like it's getting to Homelander level. Maybe a little bit worse because at least Homelander at this point hasn't even gotten to federal government level.
This is the same kind of crap, right? We've been here. We've been down this road.
The American people must decide if Trump's embrace of violence to preserve his power is acceptable. Perhaps most importantly, the American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again, the presidency, to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it.
Ridiculous.
You know, at the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, that defined the presidency.
I can't believe this guy's citing George
He believed
Washington.
power was limited, not absolute.
He remembers him
And that
personally.
power always resides with the people. Always.
That doesn't really work that well, Ben. If he remembers him personally, if he's like close friends with George Washington, it's kind of like, I guess he's like supposed to say he's old, but like, I don't know. Honestly, that kind of like more goes to what Joe Biden's kind of saying because I feel like he's not even like, personally, I'm just saying it is way closer to Nazi shit than I think any type of like British monarchy getting established. Like, I don't know. I think he should be framing it from that perspective just because people hate Nazis. But like whenever it comes to just like a system changing and they're being like, oh, he's emboldened to do whatever he wants, he's not even pushing on the king thing that hard anymore. Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Now, over 200 years
It's only
later,
4 minutes too. That's the problem.
today's
He
Supreme
doesn't
Court
like, talk
decision,
that much at all or make
once
announcements.
again, it will depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years.
I don't.
But any
he's
president,
respecting the limits of the
including Donald
presidency.
Trump,
Oh my God, he said he doesn't respect the limits. Oh my God, look at this guy. Arrest him. Arrest him. He's delegitimizing the president of the United States of America in his argument. Oh my God. That's definitely a rebuttal and discredits everything he just said because he just disrespected this man here. Because I love authority, I guess.
will now be free to ignore the law. I
That's
concur
not
with
true.
Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law.
King above law.
With fear for our democracy,
so
I
bad.
dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent. May God bless you all, and may God help preserve our democracy. Thank you. May God protect our troops.
That was it?
Okay, and then he looks around bizarrely.
That was it? That was not good, dude. He needed to hit way harder. He did the king quote again, which was good, but then he just left right after with no questions. I want to hear what the questions were.
And toddles off to the background where he will answer no questions. Again, he's a liar.
No,
Understand what's happening here. He is lying about the Supreme Court decision in order so he can lie about the election, meanwhile calling for the jailing of his political opponent, but don't worry, Donald Trump is the fascist. He's attacking the Supreme Court and saying it's illegitimate fundamentally, that they've undermined the constitutional order, that they've...
Donald Trump is the guy who, Donald Trump is the fascist probably just because of the fact he appointed people who are literally systemically destroying democracy. That might be why he's the fascist. Not because of, you know, Biden saying that Trump should be in jail for the crimes he committed. You know? I don't think that really means... whatever.
Reappointed a king. Don't worry, my opponent is the fascist, which is why you need to elect me. Good luck with this particular argument. Again, a lot of this has to do with him attempting to put out an image that he is still in charge, that he is still president, that it's not Jill,
He is still
that
president.
it's not his team inside the White House that is manipulating his lukewarm body. It's not true. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media?
I'm tired of you fucking talking. All right, well, that was Benny Boy. Say goodbye, bye, Benny Boy.